Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Padam Shankaram Loka Shankaram. I salute Bhagavat Pad Shankaracharya, who is the repository of the Shrutis and Smritis and Puranas, who is compassionate and the benefactor of the world. Those who are following the class, the book, we are on verse 36. I am verily that supreme Brahman, which is eternal, stainless, and free, which is one, indivisible, and non-dual, and which is of the nature of bliss, truth, knowledge, and infinity. Before we can go into this explanation of the text, just a little background. We have been, since the last few verses, Shankaracharya, the author of this, has been negating what you are not. That is the process of Vedanta. You negate what you are not and then assert what you are. So we are in these verses where it's an assertion. You are asserting what you are. The problem comes here. Suddenly you are asked to believe and have faith in that you are that supreme Brahman. Me? Not me. There's something called the imposter syndrome. No. Even all my successes, my skills, I'm not really justified. I'm not eligible for all this adulation and all the success and all the congratulations that are coming to me. I feel inside, I'm an imposter. It's called imposter syndrome. There is something also called the dissociative identity syndrome, or disorder, rather. It's a disorder, where there are two or three distinct personality characteristics in a person. And there is also something called the grandiose self. We've been imagining things about ourselves and projecting a grandiose image on ourselves and the world. The world doesn't bother. You may strut, but to someone else looking at you, you might be just waddling like a duck or something like that. You think you're strutting, but these are some of the things that happen in ordinary psychology. Of course, imposter syndrome is very common. At times you feel not really eligible for all this kind of things. So Vedanta has already, as we have said, negated your mind, your ordinary identity, that is your ego, and everything that you've built upon, your sensory and bodily apparatus, your intellect even, your memory even. But what are we then? Yes, that is. This is what happens. See, what happens is, Vedanta was experiential first and then philosophical next. So these words are coming out through experiences, through the deepest experiences. So you ask somebody, suddenly you are an elephant. No, I can't be an elephant. I may have the delusions I'm an elephant, but I'm not an elephant. There are some people who project their own false identity on others, or the others' identity on themselves. Like, they think that guy is an imposter. Like, take for instance, the guy who shot John Lennon. He thought that John Lennon is the imposter. I am the real imposter. Give you an example. Fix it in your mind. The Vedanta has brushed all this away. And now it's telling you, you are that Supreme Brahman. Me? What? Suppose you were watching images from the Hubble Space Telescope or whatever, now these JSWT telescopes, and watching the universe. Wow, look at that. And you're watching it and suddenly you're told, you are that universe. Me? Impossible. In Vedanta, it's called asambhavana vritti. Impossible. No way. I am this, my little puny life, going about, like Carl Sagan says, we are like mites on that small planet called Earth. And here is everything. Religions, our philosophies, our kingdoms, our kings and generals have come and gone on this small, pale blue dot. And that small mite on this pale blue dot is what? That mite has been told, you are that Supreme Brahma, that you are the universe. Oh my God, nah, it's impossible. So in Vedanta, the very first obstacle is this. It's impossible. And then there's another obstacle in which Vedanta says, it's viparita bhavana. But you're thinking oppositely. First you say it's not possible. And then you think of its opposite. No, I'm a small thing. When you can conquer these two characteristics of ignorance, rather of non-knowledge, then you can understand these words. I am that Supreme Brahman, which is eternal, stainless, and free, which is one, indivisible, and non-dual, and which is of nature of bliss, truth, knowledge, and infinity. Supreme Brahman, we are speaking now of the absolute reality. But you have to speak it in such a way that you really can speak of the absolute, because there in the absolute there is no subject and object. So, yet, at the same time, we can understand the absolute through some concepts that we know around. Like, we know what is to be dirty, so yeah. So you're stainless. We know what is bondage, so you call it free. We know the many, and yet you are saying you're one. You're divisible. There are hundreds of thoughts in your mind, but you're saying it's indivisible, non-dual, one, and with the nature of bliss, truth, and knowledge and infinity. Look at this. So it's taking you, what you are, and telling you there's something wrong in your own perception. If you start analyzing it, you will find all your personality built up on the sense of I. You know what Vedanta does at first? It goes through the initial process of pulling the rug under your feet. What's that? The negation. Pull that ego out. It analyzes the ego and finds it is non-existent. But you build up your entire life, your career, your knowledge and everything on this. Everything is within that small compass, that small space. Yeah. And suddenly you're pulled out and thrown out in the ocean. Like Sri Ramakrishna says, he gives the examples of how to meditate on the absolute. Like think you're a bird which was in the cage and then set free. What do? You look around, you're cautious, and then you fly. Or like a fish which is in a small fish tank and suddenly you let it go out. What does happen? This is a meditation and also a process of thinking, growing. My pains, my pleasures, my joys, my sorrows, my this, and you start analyzing it and you find it's all kind of empty. But there are those who are new, but we have gone through this whole negation. So here it is now asserting that you are that absolute. For those who can understand the Sanskrit terms, this is called Nitya Shuddha Vimuktai Eka Akhanda Ananda Advayam Satyam Jnanam Anantam. The Satyam Jnanam Anantam is from the Upanishad, Taittiriya Upanishad. Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. So, Yat Param Brahma Ahameva. I am that. Truth, knowledge, consciousness, and infinity. That supreme Brahman, I am that. Now, is this the ego that's telling you? No. The ego, as you have seen, has been dispelled. There is something called the individual consciousness that you have to now assert. This individual consciousness is called a soul, or various things, the jiva. The jiva is now being told you are that supreme Brahman. Oh no. It is frightening. Don't worry. It's not so easy. It sounds like, not, it's sublime. It doesn't sound romantic. It doesn't sound glamorous. Sounds nice. But we are not willing to give up our own individual small existence. Because we know giving up means is death. Yes. Yeah. If I am not there, that's death. But every night you go and give it up, it's taken away from you. Every night you don't have to go, I'm in deep sleep. Lucid dreaming you can do a little. You're aware that I'm dreaming. But in the state of deep sleep, it's not. But you are alive. You come up. So the entire Western philosophy is based on this identity of oneself, which is tenuous, can be explained away. So Vedanta is this. So we see things which are ephemeral, which are changing. So somehow we know its opposite. There has to be an opposite. Maybe it's not an opposite. Maybe that's a delusion. Yeah, it could be a delusion. So either this is real and that is a delusion. It could be the reverse also. This is the delusion, that is real. Vedanta takes that position. So how does it, we have this, Swami Vivekananda gives the example. Imagine a circle. Try to expand that circumference as vast as you can make it. You can comprehend the space within the circle, obviously, and that imaginary circumference. Obviously, it's still imaginary. At the same time, there's a simultaneous perception of a space outside the circle. So this is, but I never wanted to know the space outside. It is part of that perception. A space within the circle, there should be a space outside the circle. So this is what Nitya is eternal, permanent, but we see everything as impermanent. When you see yourself in the mirror or see your old photographs, you're saying, what happened to that guy? Something has happened. We have the idea of impurity. Oh, the street is so dirty. Oh, there's the cobwebs here. Everywhere you go, oh, that's not according to my standards of cleanliness. It's opposite also, the Shuddha, pure. Vimukta, etc. I won't go into the Sanskrit definitions, but you get the idea. So, I am that supreme Brahman. Why is it supreme? Because in Vedanta, there are two realities given. One is, it's called the conditioned Brahman. Brahman conditioned, the reality conditioned by name and form. Everything in this universe is comprehensible by these two things. Everything has a name and everything has a form. Everything. If there's a form, there is a name. Name in the sense called Nama Rupa. Rupa is form. Whatever is form. It might be an abstract mathematical kind of formula. Yes, but it has. Otherwise, it is incomprehensible to us. So philosophy does not start with the absolute. It has started with trying to make sense of my place in the whole world. What is this I experience? And then they reduce it to just two things. First, they reduce it to time, space, and causation. Then they say time, space, and causation gives us this name and form. And when you see this name and everything, whatever exists on this earth, in the solar system, beyond the solar system, in the millions and billions and trillions of galaxies, everything has a name and a form, an appellation. You can understand. Why? Because the mind works through this name and form. It can only understand things through. And that is why the moment you have a name and form, you can locate it in time and space. Oh, here it is. This is, it is objectified. So this entire world, your body is name and form, your mind is name and form, everything is name and form. the subtle and the physical universe is nothing but name and form. Nama, Rupa. Okay. So this conditioning is there. Vedanta does not dismiss it completely, but it states, when you go down to the Pacific, it's nearby, and you see the waves, and you see, wow, look at these waves and wavelets and foam and froth and everything there. Somebody will come and say, that's the ocean. What do you call it waves? Why? These are waves. But it's also water. So to make this comprehensible, so they take this name and form, this Saguna Brahman. Brahman as conditioned to name and form or time, space, causation, etc. So this entire world is explained. We don't go for, we also, there is another explanation, like there's an inflationary model of this universe. It inflates. We also had that. But this is another avenue of understanding reality to Vedanta. Many avenues, but this is one. So is Supreme Brahman. What is Supreme Brahman? So this is the conditioned Brahman. It's called inferior. You're seeing that same reality which is whipped in waves. You're seeing it as the universe. But behind that, then you say, okay, that's water and nothing but water. Take the name and form out of that wave and what remains? Water. Okay. So that's why I am verily that Supreme Brahman. Okay. I think this is clear. Stainless, free from ignorance and its effects. Ignorance, as we've said, ignorance, the translator Swami Nikhilananda is fond of the word ignorance. There's another word called Maya. I prefer non-knowledge. That's a better word. Because it's called avidya, or non-knowledge. You cannot keep on telling everybody, you are ignorant, you are ignorant, you are in ignorance. People get recoiled from Vedanta. So, ignorance means non-knowledge. And they club the entire nature, whatever nature has thrown out at you is called non-knowledge of Maya, okay, Prakriti. Free from relativity characterized by birth, death and other changes. Yes, again, to come back to this, you find in the Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna is hesitant to fight because he has to fight against his own relatives, his grandfather, his teacher, his cousins, and he's bringing arguments one after another, and all solid arguments. He's talking about the evils of war and the consequences of war. What happens? And what did Krishna do? He brushes them all aside. What are you talking of? Prattling? Death, destruction, bloodshed, etc. He just brushes them. They are real things to us. But from the standpoint of reality, the very first words that Krishna says. Nainam chindanti shastrani. You are the soul which weapons cannot cut, wind cannot dry, fire cannot burn, water cannot wet. You're eternal, imperishable. Now that's a huge wake-up call for Arjuna, because not that he was untrained. He was trained in it, but momentarily, due to infatuation with relatives, etc., kingdom, he forgot it. So Krishna, his friend, kept on telling him what he really was. So he brushes birth, death, but it's real. Yeah. From the standpoint of your body, you're born, you're dying, this, that. You have your ID and DMV. Go out and give your ID. But standpoint of the reality, everything is brushed off. Because you are much greater. You are transcendent. You have just forgotten this. And Vedanta keeps on trying to tell you. Indivisible, 3 kinds of divisions. So these are the things that Vedanta, briefly, it's called Vijatiya, Sajatiya and Swagata. That is, he's given an example between a horse and a cow. We have a horse and a cow. Both are mammals, all right, fine. But there's a horse and a cow. The second is 2 cows. This is the Sajatiya, the same species. Okay, it's horse and horse. And then the third is Swagata, internal divisions within it. It's like, oh, the horse, it has hooves and it has legs, it has a tail, it has a head, it has a kind of back. So the internal differences are there, yet it is one. There is a one horse, but yet you start. Then you ask, is the horse hooves? No. Is the horse legs? No. Is the horse the mane? No. Then what is the horse? And you keep on. You start eliminating one, but a collection of all these things, the hooves and the legs and the manes, etc., and the head is the horse. Why you call it horse? In Buddhist, generally they use this kind of reasoning, because they want to break down everything and to show that what you are seeing is just a collection of parts. It's an appearance. They, of course, took it from Vedanta. They generally don't use a horse, they use a chariot. What's a chariot? Wheels, the spokes. So there are internal divisions, yet it is one, yet there are internal divisions. So Vedanta, in its lower Saguna conditioned Brahman, they speak about it as Swagata Bhed. That is, there are internal divisions of name and form, etc. But in its higher aspect, all these 3 types of distinctions are eliminated. Okay, that is okay. Non-dual, unlimited by existence of an entity of a different. You cannot have. See, Vedanta always tries to unify. Suddenly you find they say, are the universe. Like we said, no. And then, what about God? What God? That's why a lot of people cannot stomach this. They unify you, the universe, and God. They don't like any distinctions or divisions in the absolute. Yeah. What about my God? So that's why Vedanta is called sometimes, it's atheistic. Atheistic. There is no morality preached there. Oh, it preaches the highest morality. The elimination of yourself. When you eliminate yourself, you become the whole universe. Through every hand you work, through every mouth you eat, through every eye you see. That is the basis. Unselfishness is the basis of morality. And Vedanta preaches you the highest morality because it preaches unselfishness. Okay. Now given this, this has to be this has to be hammered in over and over and over again. Because like you remember, we have to have that, eliminate that, the idea of impossibility, viparita bhavana. You have to eliminate that. And you have to counter it with this thing. This has been done before? Oh, this has been done. It's been done even now. And it's been done for the thousands and thousands of years. We don't know how old the Vedanta is. 5,000, 6,000, 7,000. But there has been a tradition, a very ancient tradition, that is, knowledge has been handed down from the guru to the disciple. The disciple becomes a guru, and slowly. So this knowledge has been. It is only Swami Vivekananda has brought this knowledge, and it was called a secret knowledge. This was not given to everybody. Today that we are sitting and listening to this thing, in the old days, even a few centuries, people would have been aghast. What? It's impossible. Were you teaching these things to these people? They will say. Yeah, but let them know what they really are. They may use it or lose it. But tell them, because they are of the same nature. So what's the point in not doing it? Because they talked about eligibility. You've got to be eligible. When a child is going to kindergarten, you're not going to say, oh, you see, we are going to talk about nuclear physics. Okay. And the child, oh, what? Nuclear physics? Oh, I thought we came to study something else. When that he has done some postgrad and all, then we'll start with nuclear physics. All right. Okay. You're not going. You're teaching these kindergarten kids quantum mechanics and somewhere deep down, let the seed be planted. In time, it will grow. So, everything evolves. You are evolving, your ideas are evolving, and that seed planted in you will start evolving. And if you can impel that growth by meditation, then it becomes better, evolve quickly. The 37th is the impression of I am Brahman, thus created by uninterrupted reflection, destroys ignorance, non-knowledge, and its distractions as rasayana. These old Ayurvedic doctors were called rasayanis. As the doctors, as rasayana medicine, that's the medicine, destroys diseases. So it's like, there's a book by Nisargadatta, his Conversations, Strong Medicine. I like that. I remember when I was reading that, this is really strong medicine. What does it cure? Your delusions. So this impression, what do you mean impression? When we look at a particular thing, we see it and immediately there's another thing that happens. Perception and a memory trace is formed, that samskara. And this samskara, the memory, is then synced with the other memories of that same table. Then you say, this is the table. You're not going to say, is this a chair? You'll say, what? The guy is crazy. Cannot see this. So we have to rely on past impressions. And these past impressions are many of various things. We have seen not only in this life, in many lives. Many, many lives. There was a book recently which made waves. Not recently. Many lives, many masters, etc., etc. Oh, for them it's like many lives. Wow. Something survives then. Yeah, of course. However, so these impressions are there. They are sleeping in the receptacle of the mind, called chitta. So when you see this, you recall also. So every perception is a recognition. It's a cognition, but it's a recognition. You recognize it. That's a nice, beautiful words used. Recognition, recognition. So where are these impressions? They are in the mind. So when you start the impression of I am Brahman, I'm meditating on that over and over and over. These impressions are now laid down layer after layer after layer after layer and layer in the mind. Like Sri Ramakrishna says, well, if you eat radish, we don't eat, you'll belch radish. A custard pudding you eat, you'll belch custard pudding out. What we say is nothing but what we have thought over and over again. So when you start practicing Brahmaham Asmi, I am that supreme Brahman, there these layers come over and over. Then what happens? Your illusions about this world and about yourself are slowly broken. I am so and so, my DMV says, and suddenly now you have put that is kind of temporary. You understand the distinction between what is real and what is an appearance. Okay. So this provisional identity is now, can be used to interact with the world, but you know what it is. Suppose you are a coder, and people see you on the street and buying some stuff and this and that, they don't say. But the moment you talk about something, then you're a coder, you're there. Oh, that coding is different. With the doctor, that doctor is interacting with us and this and that. Suddenly somebody swoons or faints. Immediately that doctor comes out. So that, what is the doctor? Nothing but knowledge. What is knowledge? Nothing but impression. These are impressions over and over and over again. Knowledge, this temporal knowledge, nothing but impressions. So these are called chitta vrittis. So the samskaras. It's called samskaras. Over again. We may think, I'm very knowledgeable. Yeah, you've read a lot. Okay, you're a bookworm. But now you better use your knowledge. So these are the impressions of I am Brahman, thus created by uninterrupted reflection. Bhavana destroys non-knowledge and its distractions. A distraction, we know. Because once you're distracted, you're deflected, you go. So you're riding a bike, and slowly, you're feeling tired, legs are tired, and then slowly the handle kind of, and slowly That's a cliff. Oh. You might not know. You're just being deflected slowly. So whenever you have this kind of non-knowledge, then you get deflected. From what? From the reality. So that's why this constant practice is like that medicine, strong medicine, which destroys diseases. Okay. So there's a long footnote in this introduction, page 99, etc. It's nothing but speaking about the reality and the shadow. You all guys can read it later. We can proceed. Because I just want to read this. It's the continuation of this 37. The beginnings of how you should start practicing. We still have a few minutes. Sitting in a solitary place, freeing the mind from desires. From the word uses, actually the original is viraga, from attachments. And controlling the senses. Meditate with unswerving attention on the infinite Atman, which is one without a second, non-dual, one. There is no other Atman. There's only one. One reality. We do not want two realities. The world and I, there are two. Sorry. You fuse them together. You are the world. The world is you. There was a song, I think, We Are the World or something like that. It's really great things. The sentiment is like Vedantic sentiment. How these things have seeped into popular culture. But for them, it's like different. For us, it's the implication is for a Vedanta tremendous. We are the world. Yes. Of course. With everything. World is like, not only what you see polished, all the good things. Remember this. All the evil things also. Don't be under any illusions that the world is nice and poetic and beautiful and sublime and sweet and aromatic and savory and this and that, all the good things in life. Oh, no. Behind that is that other side. We are the world, take both. No, we don't want that. Take that. Vedanta, there's the strength of Vedanta. Take both. Take it or leave it, as they say. Take it, I'll take it. That is the Vedanta. Behind every good phenomena is something evil, and behind evil everything is. So the world is relative. One person's meat is another man's poison. Oh, sorry, I should not say the word meat. They will say, what is this? So one man's food is another man's poison. So it's like that. So everything is relative. Take both. What both? There is no two things. One is appearing sometimes as good and the same thing is appearing as bad. That's why they say, we are the world. Yes, we are the world. Very good. Cool. Go ahead. Controlling the senses, meditate with unswerving attention on the infinite Atman, which is one without a second. One without a second. There's no two things. Vivikta Desha. It's also repeated even in the Bhagavad Gita. Vivikta Sevi Lagvasi, etc. So Vivikta Desha is solitary place. Desha is place, solitary place. Don't go and sit down where there's a rock concert going on and sit down. I want to meditate on the Atman. No, go out there. Vivikta Desha, sit down. It's like nowadays we have so many people are selling asanas, seats, and they're making a few. It's $1 billion industry. Do you know that? Good for yoga. Yeah, yes. These various seats that are being sold, all different types. Yes, somebody is making money, let them make. So the original idea is, asana is to sit down. And when you sit, it has to be firm. By the way, tomorrow we are going to have a meditation retreat. So we are going to teach you the basics of meditation. Sitting down. Sit down and you don't. No. Sorry, you can't do that. Just sit down still. Sitting still will harmonize all the energies within. That's the idea. And sit down straight, not crookedly. So sitting down, freed from attachments, the senses controlled. How do you control the senses? It's turbulent. Even Arjuna says it's turbulent like the wind, controlling the wind. Hold on to this idea that I am that Brahman. So when you're looking at something, like these magicians use that, the power of misdirection. They misdirect your attention and they do something else here. And then you're surprised. Oh, why are you surprised? Oh, the magician. The magician does not tell. But that's the old trick that you deflect the attention. So when you are holding that idea very strongly, I am that Brahman, then what happens is your senses automatically gets. Otherwise, it's impossible to control the senses. Impossible. Because they are so turbulent. And let's not go into it, because we will explain this in part the next time. Bhavayet. Bhavayet is to meditate, to think. Ekam Atmanam. Meditate on this one Atman. But what is the Atman like? It's so abstract. We are talking about Atman. Oh my God. Oh. Because it does not have a name and form. You understand this? When you have something in name and form, you can grasp it, understand it, interact with it. But Atman has no name and form. So for beginners, the Atman, there are two ways. One is use a symbol. Thinking is called a pratikopa. That which is not Atman is thought of as the Atman. A symbol. Take Om or any other symbol, very, very symbol. Or the image. Take any image. And when you're meditating, this is the Atman. Okay. Like I said, the mind works on the principle of name and form. The other method is use those words themselves. I am that Brahman. That idea. You can meditate on the idea. Because the mind has that capacity. So you think of it, meditate on that just idea, the abstract idea is there, over and over. That also will do. Okay. There's one word which I want to say. It's called dhi. It's called meditate with an unswerving attention. Nikhilananda has translated dhi as attention. Dhi it's actually the word dhi. When you repeat the Gayatri mantra, Om Bhur Bhuva Swa Tat Savitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Pracho. It's the dhi. It is through the dhi, the intellect, not the ordinary intellect, the purified intellect. Because when you sit down, what are you going to meditate with? The intellect. It's called dhi. It's from there that the word buddhi comes. Like Buddha, Bodha, all this, it's called a dhi. Dhi. It's that purified intellect that is awakened. And in the Gayatri Mantra, this is what they tell. May my intellect, a purified intellect, be awakened. They're not asking for money or name and fame and all this. That was an amazing, amazing concept. Why you want to go shopkeeping and bargaining with God? Go quietly. If you're intelligent enough, what intelligent? This dhi will penetrate through the mysteries of the universe. Nothing remains mysterious to this person. Nothing. Oh, the world is mysterious. All its secrets are revealed to this person with a dhi. So they used to pray for that purified intellect, dhi, which will unravel all this. Then you will know about yourself. You will know about the world. You will know about the God. All these things. Does God exist? Does God have? What is this? What kind of question is this? For this person, what? Is this a question? But oh, this, that. Have you seen God? What? This questions do not come at all for the person whose dhi, the buddhi, has been awakened. What nonsense prattle. Okay. So we stop here for today. We take this up next Friday. In the meantime, we have some questions here. The in-person questions can be taken in person there in the library. This is the mantra you gave me a few years ago, and I had not only transformed me? Okay, all right. And not only transformed my being, it has lifted the veil of ignorance. I am liberated and I embody the eternal truth. Okay. All right. Be happy. Keep at it. Swami, since we are always free, does this mean that the not knowledge is only in the mind? Yes. The non-knowledge is only in the mind. It is like the example given is a child is sleeping in the mother's lap and it is dreaming. It's being chased by a tiger. And you know what happens? And it's terrified. It's running. And the tiger is about to jump. And the child, yeah! It wakes up. Huh? Oh, it's on the mother's lap. Its heart keeps on beating for a while. Something like that. Non-knowledge is like that. We are seeing this, everything, this world, very good, very nice. Very nice. There's nothing nicer than this. Seattle, see, bright and sunny. But suppose you were in Ukraine there, and suddenly something, what is? It's not nice. So sometimes the dreams are nice, sometimes they are nightmares. But still, both sweet dreams, when we say somebody, sweet dreams, good night, those also break and nightmares also break. When you see, oh, I'm on the lap of my mother, then what happens? You are free. And really, when this dream of this world breaks, the dream of this world and oneself, you're part of this world. It's over. Okay. So thank you very much. Before we can, a few announcements. Tomorrow we have a retreat, meditation retreat at a center at Arlington, Tapovan. from 1 to 5. It's going to be a very intense meditation, guided meditation, QA, etc., and potluck also. We also, Sunday, we have a guest speaker here, Kaushik Roy, who's going to speak on Karma Yoga in the 21st century. How to serve in the world that seems broken. Yes, this has been the conflict. How to apply this Vedanta in this broken world. So if you want a little more enlightenment, come on Sunday. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Shri Ram Krishna Arpanamastu.